tikanga Māori, aku tō tara hai mata, aku manuti ori ori, aku pau toko manawa tēnā koutou, koutou katoa, aku kanohi kuia, aku kanohi koraua, aku mare kura, aku whatukura, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. E te whānau o Maniapoto whānui, ngā iwi o te motu, koutou ka noho ki tāwahi atamari. Good morning, everyone, and a happy Wednesday to you all. The mihi that I just shared was taught me by one of our whanaunga of Ngāti Maniapoto, of the Karakia whānau, residing outside of Te Nehenehenui. And I think of all of our whānau that have come the whole marara i te motu, who are spread out around the country. The changes of the 20th century forced our people out of our traditional homelands. Now we're in the towns and villages and cities throughout the country and even overseas. But we still hold on to that which is true to us, our maniapototanga, and the essence of being Māori. And he taught me that mihi, to be able to sing it, ago kāreo te manuti ori ori, to be able to sing that which is acknowledging all the generations and all the contributions that we make to our people. I appreciate that this is Mahuru Māori. We're encouraged to speak Māori throughout September. Engari mo I tēnei ata ka kore o ngā reo e rua. But for this morning I'll speak in our two languages. However, as a special note is today in Whanganuiatara, we had the celebration of 50 years ago, the petition to recognise the Māori language and to raise its mana it happened 50 years ago today, and that's where Matua Tom is this morning. At 11 a.m, I believe the celebration starts in Parliament, on the steps of Parliament, and that will be broadcast on Māori television. So I encourage you to, if you can, watch that and celebrate 50 years of the growth, te whakarauora o tēnei me te reo. And I would just like to share my journey on this just quickly. 4 years ago, I couldn't speak Māori. I knew a few phrases, the odd kupu that I'd learned in high school, that sort of a thing, but I wasn't able to converse. And then I came back, went to Te Wānanga Raukawa. I came back from overseas, went to Te Wānanga Raukawa in 2019, and I was that mature student, the one who just kia uki te kaupapa. I was just all about speaking Māori. It was total immersion. Within about 3 or 4 months of it, I was starting to get the hang of it, and but I never spoke English. Even if we'd meet outside in town or at the cafe, I'd always speak Māori no matter what, because I can speak English anywhere. But if I know that there's a place I can speak Māori, that's what I'll do. 4 years later, here I am, and I'm able to converse. I'm not an expert, but I'm able to understand and converse. But one of the things that what was taught there was that ko te tino hoa haere o te reo, ko te tikanga, goes hand in hand with our reo is our tikanga. And that was something that I was raised with by my grandparents and my mother and the rest of my whānau. So I encourage us all to, whilst we need to whakarau i te reo, kaue wareware te tikanga. Whilst we need to revitalise our reo, let us not forget tikanga. And we learn our tikanga from our whānau at our marae and our hapori Māori and our Māori community. So just like before I hand over to my relation, Cass, I'd like to finish with a karakia that I wrote when I was at Te Wānanga Raukawa. And this karakia, you've heard this before from me. This one talks about a spark within us and that it needs to come out. And it references our tupuna on the whakatainui, who, when they saw the plumes of the pahutakawa tree on the shore, according to some of the kōrero, it was hāpopo and taininihi, they were wearing their kura, and they threw their kura into the water because they thought it was no longer of any value. They could see the red plumes and they thought it was the bleak birds of paradise, or they thought it was feathers. And then, but our other tupuna, Mahina and Maihihi, they gathered those kura. They saw that, we shouldn't be wasting that. When the waka arrived on the shore, ka marama hāpopo rawa ko taininihi, tārawa pōhehe, they realised they were mistaken. And so what this talks about is when our reo was lost because we were told, my parents, my grandparents, and those generations were told, it's no use, you don't need to learn this, throw that away. That is a te reo and tikanga. But we still held on to it. And 50 years ago today, we started that te whakarauro i te reo. So this is my karakia, acknowledging that for those who held on to that kura, who fetched the kura and realised, no, this is a time we need to hold on to. Nō reira, ka karakia. Tēnei te ngārahu, tēnei te korakora, tēnei te whakawātetanga. Te ahunga i Hawaii ki ariki, te aponga kauia mai i Hawaii ki tapu. Kiri ai hāpopo, pā kira noa. Pare ai e taininihi, pā hewa noa. Tikina te kura manu a tai e mahina. Hikina te kahurangi tai au te e mahi. Whakamauri te puhi maroke, whakamauri te puhi māku. Wete kina te ihi, wete kina te mana, whakarau re e. Tēnā koutou, ka huri ki a koe e Cass.
Tēnā koe te hua ngā otirā, tēnā tātou, ngā mihi o te ata e te whānau, e te iwi, koutou, e whakatata mai nei, e whakapiripiri mai nei, te ata nei. So ngā mihi o te wā, te wiki o Te Reo Māori. So just wanting to draw on those notions shared by my whanaunga, casting our eyes backward into our history, in particular for this kaupapa, our karakia, that we have every Wednesday morning. And so for the beginning of this, it was during a time where, unfortunately, Te Nehenehenui had been hit very strongly by te mate kōwhiori. And so many of you may have seen the recent announcement from the government in regard to the COVID protection framework. So as of 11:59 p.m. on Monday night, Aotearoa New Zealand moved out of the traffic light framework. So a huge milestone in terms of our country and our response. And in particular, I want to acknowledge the many people, Maniapoto FM, Maniapoto Māori Trust Board, our marae, our hauora whānau, that have been so busy throughout that whole period, supporting our whānau, our iwi, and many people who live within our community, whether that's with providing tests, rapid antigen tests, the drive-through testing stations in Otorohanga and Te Kuiti, the emergency kai and essential support services provided through many of our marae, and the fantastic comms that Maniapoto FM have been providing throughout that time. Tēnei au ka mihi atu kia koutou. Koutou I whakapaukaha ki te hāpai te iwi nei, nō reira, I mihi kau ana kia koutou. And so looking towards the future, 50 years of Te Reo Māori being championed and led, looking forward, 3 years of our COVID-19 response, and toward the future, you know, there are fantastic things for us to look forward to, but also wanting to draw upon that notion of us to still be mindful moving forward of our haura, of our oranga, and so wanting our whānau to still take it upon themselves to do everything within their means to keep well, to live well, to eat well, to treat each other well or better. So in particular, what that could look like, especially as it's still quite new, you know, for many of our vulnerable, immunocompromised whānau, you know, masking is still a fantastic way for people to stay safe and to stay well. So yeah, just being mindful. I'm still going to continue to mask up, especially as it's still a bit cold. But also thinking of our whānau, our kaumātua, and how we may continue to support each other with some of the things that we've learned over the last 3 years. Nō reira te iwi. I'll just wrap us up now with a quick karakia, but just want to again acknowledge everyone who's contributed to the continued oranga and well-being of our iwi. Nō reira, kia noi tātou. He unuhanga ānuku, he unuhanga ārangi. He māreretanga, he māunutanga, ko te pou kātū, he pou aha te pou, he pou he te pou. Pauehi atu te pou ki tū o pai. Kia tātaka mai te a mārama ki runga ki ngā tihi maunga o te nehenehenui. Tēnā e te ao, nau mai, whakatau mai rā o āhuatanga papai ki runga kia tātou te iwi nei. Kia mārama i runga, kia mārama i raro, kia mārama i roto, kia mārama i waho, kia mārama ki tua. Kia tau iho mai te māramatanga ki runga, kia mātau te iwi nei, me ngā hapu maho o te nehenehenui. Whakamaihihi ora i runga, whakamaihihi ora i raro, whakamaihihi ora te rangi e tū iho nei, whakamaihihi ora te papa e taputo ake nei. Whakamaihihi ora anō te tangata. E te ao kia te ihi, kia ho, kia ti aho mai i roto. Te i toko te ao mārama. Whanō whanake tū mai te toki haumi e, hui e, tā ki e. Nō reire te iwi. I wish you all a wonderful week. And yeah, kia ora tātou.